Okay, welcome to North Lanarkshire Live. My name is Mark Regan. This is our second episode. Woohoo! Right, I've got with me today, I've got the lovely Stuart Doig. Hello, Stuart.
Hello.
Right, so if I was to sit here and say, what's the value in it?
The value I can actually give you my story because I used to be crippled with anxiety. I grew up with anxiety, and when I was young, I used to just say I was deep and shy. But it's anxiety. So when I started doing this in 2011. Never imagined for a second up on stage, you know, that'd be silly. But I joined a group and I could play guitar a wee bit, and I thought, right, I'll hide behind a curtain and play guitar. But it's bit by bit you start. I was talking to people in the group who were at the table, and once I got to know them, I commit myself a bit so I could joke and carry on. And one of the women there said, "You'd be good at comedy." So I kind of started writing my comedy stuff. And then about a year later, I joined an organisation in Glasgow, Universal Comedy, and they tutored. I get tutored with professional comedians and that. So.
Oh, come on, drop some names.
Drop some names. Well, Raymond Mearns.
Know him.
Viv G.
Know her.
I thought you were going to say know him. Jojo Sutherland.
Know her.
Stephen Dick.
Don't know him. But when I'm saying I know them, I don't know them, I'm not pals with them, but I have heard of them. Because I'm pretty sure if I go on one of the comedy forums tonight, they'll say, he's claiming he knows me. But I know of them, and they're very talented comedians.
They are, and Stephen Dick, you know Frankie Boyle, don't you?
Yes. Well,
he writes for him.
Again.
So Stephen Dick is Frankie Boyle because he writes for him.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
So calibre training you've had?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but it is.
So where have you taken beyond the full on? Have you performed in comedy clubs?
Yeah, I've done the Stand in Glasgow, the Drum, the ESPA, Scottish Parliament, which is quite a big club.
I didn't know you were an MSP.
Yeah, I did a thing there for the MSPs about 2 years ago. It was a mental health sketch and stand-up comedy.
Because we were having this discussion earlier on that beyond your group, stand-up comedy is kind of full of people with mental health issues, whether they're undiagnosed or not. But there's an issue with somebody that wants to stand up on a stage. And
yes, so I hear. I didn't know at the beginning, but I was kind of look at somebody like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Who's one of the funniest guys alive, and and sadly he took his life. And I think he suffered with depression, etc. And there's a lot of comedians that looked into it. So we don't cause depression, but they do have it.
No, but it seems to be that people that are so funny on stage. I mean, the really funniest comedians have a really dark side to them as well.
Yeah, I'm not like that really. I've got schizophrenia and OCD. I've had depression, and that was a dark time in my life. And I had anxiety, and it's kind of gone now because I'm doing the comedy. So I've had all the mental illnesses basically, But yeah, I've read that about comedians, and I don't know if it's a coping strategy at school. I've heard a comedian saying it helps with the bullies, where they make the bully laugh, he's less likely to batter you, and, I don't know, might be something in that.
Again, the group is called Full On, and you meet in Motherwell?
We meet in Belsall and Coatbridge, Shorehead Community Centre.
When?
It's in Bridge, it's every Thursday, 1 o'clock to 3, and in Belsall it's every Tuesday, 1 o'clock to 3.
And what's the next big thing you guys have got coming up for you?
The next big thing is, I'm trying to remember. We have got a SMAF event coming up.
What's that?
Scottish Mental Health and Arts Film Festival, which is not celebrating, but it kind of celebrates what every year. And we've got an event in Belsall with that, and we're hoping to do something in Shorehead Community Centre, probably November or December. That'd be for family and friends of the groups we're in. It's mostly hospitals we'll go into and do stuff in that. We do fundraisers for ourselves, which is Mallow Miners. And we're going to start doing stuff in Coatbridge. We've been asked to different venues. But yeah, things are coming along good.
Great stuff. Well, thanks for coming on. Now, don't shoot off the Facebook page. What we're going to do is we're going to take a wee 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have another guest on. Hi, welcome back to North Lanarkshire Live, and I'm here with our second guest of the episode, which is Gerald Summers, or do you prefer Jerry?
Jerry was pretty much preferred.
So Jerry Summers, and Jerry's a local activist that lives in the Coatbridge area. So Jerry, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Martin. Considering it last me long at such short notice, but however, I came as prepared as I possibly could be.
So you stood for election in May for the council election.
Yes, I did. Yes.
As an independent candidate.
Independent, yes.
What was the reason for doing that?
I've varied. The fact that I've been an activist for so long, and I've always been involved in politics one way or another. I've been involved with both the mainstream parties at one time or another, and had my fallouts with them along the way. Some more recent than others. However, I felt at the time that people needed more choice, and a local community candidate was what to offer. And a lot of people do complain, say, oh, the politicians that represent us from SNP or Labour or they're rubbish and all the rest of it. Well, I'm one of those people saying, put your money where your mouth is and go for it. You either get elected or you don't. We can all sit in the house in the chair and cringe and complain about every politician and moan, but get out there and do it then and give it a go. And that was my philosophy on the whole thing. So I had the courage of my convictions to do it.
I think the issue that you have in any election as well, is so standing as an independent candidate, is you're going up against a political machine.
Oh yeah.
A big political machine. That's like I was saying, well, we're in competition with the BBC and we're going to really give... Nobody's flipping over from Homes Under the Hammer to watch this right now. So there's a difficulty there where your budget must have been very limited. Yeah. And your resources.
To a certain extent, although the electoral law does help a bit on that produces some sort of level playing field, although the bigger parties, the mainstream parties, are more adept at using legal loopholes to fund from others.
They'll appear on the news. Yeah. There's that thing of, if I'm standing in this area and I'm standing as Labour or as SNP,
oh, yeah.
You've been in the news for the past year anyway, because you've got anyone that's already in that party that's been elected, that sort of washes onto other candidates and things like that. Whereas I don't think we don't have a single. Have we ever had an independent councillor in this constituency? I know there's two at the moment in the whole of North Lanarkshire.
Yeah, but based on different issues and different ways it falls. Sometimes this is probably the lowest amount that the North Lanarkshire Council was returned as independents, because there was a few independents who actually was restanding to be re-elected and lost this time round because of the electoral system. As I mean, let's not fool ourselves here. There was a lot of other issues, a lot of things at play. This council election was used not as a council election, as a national issue. I mean, certain areas in North Lanarkshire, to be honest, I mean, let's be truthful here, say, we don't have a pot to piss in, as the saying goes, and return Conservative councillors. The irony in that itself, so you can see what was at play here. I mean, really, as far as downtrodden areas that are high up in the data zone statistics, we're returning Tory councillors who have nothing in common with that constituency because of other issues nationally. So it wasn't really a fair reflection of local issues anyway for an independent candidate.
Now, one of the bizarre things I found about me as well is that you were standing as an independent candidate, and there was a lot of people standing to get re-elected as councillors.
Yeah.
As independent candidates, who actually weren't independent candidates when they started.
No.
Because I think, did Jim Brooks stand?
Jim Brooks and John Higgins both stood in the same order.
Julie McAnulty stood.
Julie McAnulty, yeah.
So that's three off the top of my head that stood.
And then Motherwell sort of Wishy.
I don't know, was Frances McGlinchey, was she Green when she was a councillor, or was she always an independent?
She was, I think she was elected as SNP originally.
Right.
And then Green and then independent. But all the independents really took a baton this time. This election was a battle about unionism versus nationalism.
Which
was
is
replayed in the council election. It was about the referendum really being replayed in the council election, and that the results reflected that.
Which is surreal when you think about it, because independence, pro or against, it's not really having a big effect on your bins.
No, it doesn't.
So
well, I'll tell you what's having a big effect on the bins. One of my manifesto promises was that there would be no 3-week bin collections, and I urged the people when they voted for me that this was in the pipeline. This was going to happen after the election. Various people, political figures, came out on various social sites, etc., and criticised me and basically called me a liar. That we were not going to, and they put it in writing that there would not be 3-week bin collections. He is just making this up. He's scaremongering. What happens 4 weeks after the election? It's going to be implemented this time next week.
yeah, I think that there's a weird thing with political promises, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there is this thing where much people are much more politically engaged now, and political promises get exposed much more quickly because people are going straight back saying, well, wait a minute, you got elected on this promise and you've changed your mind. They don't usually happen as quickly as that.
As quickly or as blatantly.
Yeah.
And the cover stories at the time leading up to the election it was to discredit. They immediately tried to discredit me and as if I was talking, he's just made this up out of nowhere. I had spoken to certain agencies, including trade unionists, who were involved in that section of the environmental works. I went and spoken to them, and they had said, we have the rotas. So I knew it was going down. It's now all been, the excuse given was it was based on an old report when we said we weren't doing it, but we hadn't seen the new report. Well, of course, yeah. The old report's now binned. I don't know what bin they've put it in, or whether it's the blue one. But it'll be somewhere.
You've still got 2 weeks to pick it up,
yeah.
haven't you? So another campaign that you were involved in was the Monklands campaign, which has become so complicated and convoluted in terms of people are saying things on one side and people are saying things on the other side. It's shutting down, it's getting moved, it's getting changed, it's getting this, it's getting that. One side saying this and one side saying that, and then other people saying, well, it's not my fault, it's this person's fault, it's not my fault, it's this person's fault. And it's like, but you tried to do it then.
Well, when we engaged, when we took this on, myself and the others that became part of this Save the Monklands campaign, immediately political parties, the SNP saying, you're having a go at us, you're having a go at the Scottish Government, you're having a go, and some of the Labour ones.
Well, I would say, if you're having a go at the Scottish Government, you're having a go at the SNP, that's your democratic right, to be fair.
But it wasn't the whole raison d'etre. I mean, at first we went for the Chief Exec of NHS Lanarkshire.
Which is Callum Campbell.
Callum Campbell and Nina Mahal, who's the chairperson of the NHS Lanarkshire board. Now, we attended the meeting where they decided they were downgrading it by what I'll call stealth. It is a downgrade by stealth, death by 1,000 cuts, because there is no way on that site that we now have a fully functional general hospital of the standard that we had 5 to 7 years ago. There is no orthopaedic, which we were the downgraded orthopaedic and moving it to Wisher. They're saying, for centres of excellence and all the rest of it. Things aren't coming back. Psychiatric has been moved. Beforehand, the paediatric wards were taken away. That is not a fully fledged general hospital. I happened to be in that accident emergency a couple of weeks ago, and there's adjustments being done, and I also went to visit someone in one of the place was disgusting. The corridor was disgustingly filthy. If you weren't ill when you were in, you certainly were well when you got back out. And no wonder some of these diseases, when you just put your hands on the window frames or along the bars in the corridor, it was filthy. And so no wonder these diseases, when patients have surgery, that they're catching infections, etc. afterwards. However, the government then threw at me, users were scaremongering once again. They like to say, we've got Alec Neil, who did a lot for my fitness therapy at the time because they chased him for about 3 miles around the car park of the Monklands Hospital to just try and get him to answer some questions. Promised that there's going to be 400 million. I'm bluffing. They're not downgrading it by stealth. There's 400 million going to be invested in a new state-of-the-art hospital, either on the existing site or at a new site somewhere else. So I consulted with a few consultants and people that know about these things, and have been told that to build a new, fully functional general hospital for the size of the Monklands, with everything we need in it, would be more than double that money. For £400 million, you would have probably what we would call a cottage hospital, with probably no A&E. Now, big political capital was made years ago when Labour tried to shut the A&E, but they were called it a down. This word downgrade or regrade, all these phrases get thrown about by politicians. They never call things what it is. I don't think that we'll have a Monklands hospital that will have the capacity or the capability that we had 5 to 10 years ago. I don't think we're ever going to get that back. The flagships at Lanarkshire and East Kilbride are PFI hospitals. These have got to be maintained and paid for, come what may.
Well, this is the thing, is when you look at the 3 hospitals in North Lanarkshire, Wishaw, East Kilbride, and then you've got basically Monklands. Those 3, well, East Kilbride's not in North Lanarkshire, is it? So
no, but
yeah, but it's North Lanarkshire. Yeah,
the funding.
But the issue is, and just in case somebody comments, it's not in North Lanarkshire. No, but Monklands is the only tangible asset.
Yes.
At the hands of of the NHS, where they can say, we need a big chunk of money. That's the only thing they can feasibly sell off. Do you know what I mean? They can't sell Wishaw and they can't sell East that's the only thing that's got any value left as an asset. So I could understand why it would get shut down and money taken out of it.
But they said it's never going to shut down. I don't think it will, but as I said, it just will not be a hospital of the class that it used to be. I don't think that orthopaedics will come back. I don't think paediatrics will come back.
I think the other thing is about orthopaedics, when people hear orthopaedics...
And trauma, but the amazing thing here is orthopaedics and trauma. Now, the trauma ranges from anything from an old person falling at home to a car accident. Trauma is a big part. You don't know.
Well, this is what I'm trying to say, is that when it was in the paper and it was in the news, it was like orthopaedics movement. And, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I have terrible medical knowledge. And my first thought was, if you've got back pain, I suppose you could travel that distance. Not understanding that orthopaedics covered so much more than just... Because the only time you hear about orthopaedic is either shoes or a bed.
Yeah. No, it's orthopaedics and trauma is the department's move now. Trauma ranges. I mean, people have to go to Air Miles already for heart condition now. Sometimes getting through there and an ambulance down, past the Wraith, and changing all that can make a big difference.
Well, that's been fixed now, surely.
Of course, yes. It doesn't matter, but still, it's adding times of the essence in these situations. Old people who fall, break their hips and all, they're fragile, they have to go to Monklands. BSS could be sitting there for hours waiting on transport to get them to Wishaw, or, it's just not, it's been played down so much that you're just raising the stakes. We're going to create all these centres of excellence. They're not, it's about cutting, it's about cuts, and it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's not about, this austerity thing's always the way, and it's always the wrong things. I spoke to a couple of consultants on occasions about this, and they said, this isn't even money. He said, I could come to you tomorrow, he says, and say, they've given us another 600 million for the Monklands. He says, they can throw in it. He says, they don't know how to allocate the resources properly within the health board. They use it in all the wrong things. They don't. It's not about always the amount of money. It's about how they use the resources. They don't use it in frontline, staff. They don't use it in equipment. Really. It's all about top-heavy management structures and scoring points and meeting these standards. It's not about investing in doctors and nurses and proper equipment, proper beds for patients. It's all, and that's what's wrong. You see, so even if you had all the money you needed, it doesn't mean that health boards will get it right. And that, to me, that's what it looks like with NHS Lanarkshire. The health board are not listening to the people who know better, like the consultants, the nursing staff, the people who work in the front line. They're not listening and they're not allocating the resources properly. And it's just bad economics.
I think there is also an issue with the NHS where the council have some sort of influence on what happens.
They do have members on the board, yeah.
The Scottish Government has an influence on what happens as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got the NHS as well, obviously have some sort of power. So when it comes to your fault, and it gets very complicated very quickly on terms of who's it. Well, it's not me. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for such and such, and I wouldn't do that. And it gets very complicated. And hopefully we'll get somebody on that's involved in that at some point.
It's a devolved matter, right? So the Scottish Government, but if you go to anyone from the Scottish Government and say, well, it's a devolved matter, you're responsible. Yeah, but see, UK government cut our funding, so we've got to cut it. So there's always, everyone's always got this cop out. There was people from North Lanarkshire Council who I would say this would have been against. People who were on that board and voted for the decision to remove orthopaedic and trauma from the Monklands. So, you're like, what's going on here? What is going on? Oh, we've been told in this big glossy report that Mr Campbell and Nina Mahal have given us that everything's going to be hunky-dory, we're going to have all these centres of excellence and the Monklands. It's failing, the place is failing, the place is a shambles, it's filthy, it's disgusting, the staff morale's really low. You talk to the staff, they're hurting, they're trying to meet targets, but middle miser and just these guys that want to achieve. Because they're just people that they're only interested in figures and stats, but they're not interested in really how is the patients coping. Patients get sent early. Infections after operations is on the increase in the Monklands. Again, another thing probably comes down to not having proper cleaning staff because it goes out to private, putting these things out to private tender. People's lives in the hospitals aren't things that can be played if they're in tenders on money to try and get. It's best value means doesn't mean money. Best value means what you're delivering for the patients. That to me, that's the best value. How many? There's been probably needless loss of life right across this health board due to starting with negligence from just cleaning the hospital right up to underinvestment in proper resources that the staff need and understaffing.
Fantastic. Well, I say fantastic, although that was a totally inappropriate thing to say, but it's brilliant that you spoke so eloquently about the whole thing. So beyond the Monklands campaign,
okay,
what's the other big thing that you've got your teeth into?
Well, before that we had the incinerator campaign at Cambro, which for Cambro, Sykeside, Shawhead, and it's come where Simon Howe had plans to build this incinerator. It went on, you pardon the pun, the back burner for a wee while. I don't know if that had something to do with, European investment, whatever, but recently they sent a consultant out to the community to address people to reissue it. It looks like it's going to be on a bigger scale than it was originally planned to be, and the chimney stack going to be higher. So it's a case of MRAP, Maggie Proctor now is the lead in that, they will be going full on at this, and I can see this one becoming big again. It was a huge issue for a while and it got a lot of press coverage and we were at the forefront of things and it quieting down, things quieting down the site, even on the site, but it's beginning to swell up again. I think the next few months this one's going to really take off again, this is going to be big, At the other side of it, I know people are saying that, recycling, that's very, very important and all the rest of it, but big incinerators, I don't care if they say they're safe or not safe. The man who intends to build this and wants to build it lives in huge he lives in huge acreage of land at his own place in Perth, so if it's that safe and that good for it, let's just build it there.
I think that there's a weird thing about Scotland where we have to build this here and there's lots of houses next to it, but then when you look at a map of Scotland,
So much
the
open
population is so
Yeah.
concentrated to one area. Why do you have to build that there and why do you have to build that there when there's so much space?
Yeah,
And I know there's a level of protection and, well, say that there's a lot of issues with the View Park, Blint and
yeah.
Carnbro has some greenbelt stuff
Oh,
as well
yeah.
that might be affected by
Yeah,
that.
well, there's another proposal which it affects more like Cairnhill, Calder Bank, Chapel Hall, where this new Euro project, Euro Park it's called, where they want to build around 3,000 houses plus promised cinemas and things like that across those amenities. It's a big developer, but it means completely destroying a lot of greenbelt land and or amenities where you have the lock pathway, you have the pathways along the canalway, and that would be a lot of environmental damage. So there is a group, Stop the Euro Park group, which is very prominent in Calderbank. I've been to a couple of their meetings and things, and they seem very well organised and they have their own Facebook page and everything. But this could be a very, very big issue too. We really do have to stop destroying everything around us, or we're going to have nothing.
I mean, there was some article I read about Scotland as a country has to think about the way it's populated.
Yeah.
In terms of start spreading out people. I mean, they did it a little bit in the 60s when they started building new towns. When they built East Kilbride, they built Cumbernauld, they built Glenrothes and Livingston and things like that, and they sort of spread the population, but it's only sort of really spread that way.
Yeah.
We've got to start spreading all the ways, but then again, the transport needs to be improved first. And
there's certainly infrastructure problems, but also you have who owns land. It's not always easy to assess who actually owns land. Or we might say that'd be great if we could do this here or do that there. We don't know. We really have to know whose land it is. But every opportunity I see that where there is nice, green space, we do seem to be eroding it very quickly for industrial uses, rather than try to keep the natural beauty and have somewhere for the children to be, play, go. There's a lot of wildlife in that site as well at the proposed Euro Park thing. So I really do hope that they're successful in stopping that development. I think that for future generations that must be stopped. It's very, very important that it is.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on. That was Jerry Summers, and earlier on we had Stuart Doigan. It was really nice of the pair of them to come on and talk to us. If you want to come on the show, get in touch. We're quite easy going, aren't we, Jerry?
Yes, very relaxed.
We only threatened them once or twice off camera. But if you're an elected official in North Lanarkshire, even if you're an elected official not in North Lanarkshire, Mr. Juncker, if you want to come on, chat to us about Brexit, it'll affect Coatbridge, we'll give you a seat, we don't care. But anyone wants to come on, talk to us about any issue, come on.
I could come back on in 15 years or so and talk about Brexit, because it probably still won't have happened by then.
Oh, controversial. But anyone wants to come on, just get in touch and we'll try and get you on the show.